Next, I'm going to talk about a small project using Microsoft Copilot AI and applied it to the analysis of CALA's newspaper. A little bit information about the background. So the purpose is to use AI to explore to see if it can effectively analyze the newsletters and to map evolution or trajectory of an organization over time. So the text corpus I have, is only 13 newsletters from 2018 to 25. But why only a very short period of time? And I have to go back a little bit about history. I started in trying to upload everything. So, and then Copilot or other AI tools cannot handle that. So that is why it actually motivate me to discover another way to handle the data, especially in the context of token efficiency. So I choose from 2015 to 2025. But then the last 3 years data is very different. It's a inconsistent format. So I dropped the last 3 years. That's why I have 2018 to 25. Okay, next, so I already explained it, and using the Excel, the external to put in the data and outside of AI, but AI can interpret with the data, but outside of AI from the using their memories. Okay, next. The prompt I use consists of 5 components. The first, I explain to AI the task. So it's a longitudinal study, 13 newsletters and PDF. And then it's also explain the goal to identify both qualitative and quantitative information. So I asked the AI the third, which is important, and I asked AI to establish a schema to capture the recurring themes and then apply and code it and apply the codes recurring themes to others. So to achieve that purposes, I cannot just using one newsletter, right? I cannot just using 2025. This is the most current. So the way I do it is I select the early year, 2028, the middle phase, 2021, and current 2025. And hopefully using these 3 representative newsletters that will give AI a good idea what are some of the recurring themes and reflect it in those 3 newsletters. And then ask it to create a data set or master log and to having all the extracted data and other things. So the Excel workbook has 3 parts. I ask you to first put in a code book that will store the codes and thematic codes and categories. And second is the extracted data. That's a sheet, a separate sheet, and put the extractor on the second one. And then also create a third sheet. It's called summary. So this is a 1 row, a very short, brief row synthesis of the important and primary domain, dominant themes, notable shifts, etc. So, and then the workflow is like this. Because I always think about token efficiency. So I wanted to upload 1 PDF per chat. So I start a chat. So there's a problem. So every time you upload a new one, and there's a transition, right, from the previous one to the new one, and how could you avoid repeating your instructions? So you have to think about a standard way to implement to help with the transition. So I asked AI to give me 2 main instructions. One, and make sure I have the latest version, because every time I put in the data, update the base, the version change, like a V1, V2, V3, V5, V5, 10, etc. And then, and also say, tell me in detail exactly what I need to say when I move on to the next one. So I think AI did it beautifully. Okay, this is the a look of the three-layer coding schema. So if you look at example, we have a yellow box. Within the yellow box, we have extracted data sheet, and then newsletter summary sheet and code. And the one you see now is extracted data sheet. It has basically the metadata captured by AI. So this schema has three layers. The first one is the code book. So it actually, from base to three letters, it set up, it captured A to H. That's the code. And then the second layer is summary. But at the later part of that, when I began to read some of the results, I found out that some of the important things in my mind, like AI and COVID, are not reflected in the analysis. So I consider that as a problem. So I say, okay, let's work on this. And then the AI suggests another layer, but he doesn't want the layer with those non-recurring themes. Like we don't, not COVID is not recurring every year, right? So the non-recurring themes and put it in the notes. Do you see outside the yellow box? There's a note section. So those of the some of the things are put it under there as the third layer. Okay, now let's quickly look at the A to H. Those are the names of the codes. That's the, or we can think about as a primary theme or a colors organizational functions. So those are the ones reflected on the newspaper. And here's a more, it's not a definition, but this one is a more, has a more information. It tells you what each code under, what they embrace, what they cover. Okay, let's talk about the results. AI and for the evolution or organizational phase progression, he gave me this. He discovered these patterns. One, the first year, so legitimation and repair. And then those A, B, C, D codes are dominant during that year. And then the next one, expansion and coalition building. Okay, and then BDGE themes dominant. And then when we come to 2021, that's the COVID time, is a crisis leadership and sense making. So those are, okay, you can look at dominant codes. And then the next one is memory institutionalization, and then the last one is late mature stewardship. Result two, talk about the codes. So how the codes work together, which one changing, which one stabilized. So the analysis showed A, E, H are the most important ones, especially the governance and leadership. This is the very the core functions or the themes of CALA. And then which one tend to work together, appear together, and those are the functions co-appear. A and D, that is governance and international leadership. B and H, reflection, narrative, etc. All right. Okay, let's look at the code trajectory, visual, illustration. Those are the beginning year and the later year. The pink is the later and the blue is the early period. And you can see how we have A to H, how they behave and what is the patterns. And the next one is a code trajectory analysis tool, and this is a more complex and more complete. So this one on the vertical side lists from the codes, and then the horizontal bar lists from the year, and all the darker color, for example, 2022, and you can see FGH are more frequent. Those codes are more frequent, and those lighter years, the lighter green, the lighter colors are represent they are less frequent. And I have the code legend under the image. Okay, also let's look at the AI adoption pathways. So this is actually an example using the contextual markers, because without this, the longitudinal study will not tell me anything about AI, how AI works in the CALA. So now based on that, I'm just going to read this very quickly. 2021, AI has been framed as emergent. 2022, it entered the infrastructure rather than novelty. And 2023, AI embedded in leadership and systems. 24, it normalized along with other codes. And 25, it actually goes into the background governance condition. And these are some of the key.
Hi, Daniel. I think you're like over time of your
Okay,
presentation. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm sure
okay.
your research
I
is great. And
will give leave the copy of the PDF.
yes, and everyone will have access to Daniel's PDF. And thank you very much for this
Okay.
very insightful presentation. Please feel free, like everyone, feel free to leave comments and questions for Daniel in the chat. Let's give both our presenters another round of appreciation for this very exciting lightning talks. I hope this session have gives everyone new ideas to think about and discuss. Let's take a short break, like 3 minutes break, then we will come back for our presentation session. Thanks, everyone.